Hello everyone, welcome to GSS course. This is Ajay Shah. So let's start the discussion of 10 MCQs from the current affairs area. So this is the first question for you, and this question is from Pradhan Mantri Sahaj Bijli Har Ghar Yojana, that is Saubhagya scheme. So the first statement says non-poor urban households are excluded from this scheme. So this statement is correct because in the urban areas only poor people they can get the benefit of Saubhagya scheme. So first statement is correct. Now the second statement says private sector discoms are not eligible for financial assistance under this scheme. So this statement is factually wrong because all the discoms, including private sector discoms, state power departments, and even the cooperative societies are eligible for financial assistance under the Saubhagya scheme. So second statement is wrong. The third statement says Power Grid Corporation of India is a nodal agency for this scheme. So this is factually wrong, because it's not the power grid organization, but it's REC, that is Rural Electrification Corporation, that has been designated as a nodal agency for the implementation of Saubhagya scheme. So third statement is also wrong. So only one is the correct answer. So A will be the correct answer. So let us see some value addition. So what is Saubhagya scheme? Saubhagya scheme, under this scheme, free electricity connection will be provided to all the households, that is both APL and poor families in the rural areas, but it will be provided only to poor families in the urban areas. Now REC has been designated as its nodal agency for the implementation, and the scope of this scheme, Saubhagya scheme, is to provide last mile connectivity and electricity connection to all the unelectrified households in the rural areas. Now there is also provision of providing solar photovoltaic system for unelectrified households located in remote and inaccessible villages where grid extension is not feasible or it's not cost effective. So that's all. Let us move to the next question. So this question is on the hierarchy in a ministry. I will give you just 30 seconds. Just read this. So there are five sections here, five options: department, division, wing, branch, and section. You have to arrange this in the correct order. Fine. So what is the correct order? So the top wing will be department. This is at the number 1. Then at the number 2 there will be wing. At the number 3 there will be division. Then the 4th will be branch, and at last there will be section. So correct answer will be option number C. So a typical ministry, it consists of this kind of hierarchy only. And the department is headed by a secretary, the wing is headed by an additional secretary or a joint secretary, division is headed by a deputy secretary, and the branch within division is headed by an under secretary. Now the lowest part in here will be section, and that is headed by a section officer. So that's all. So this question is on National Livestock Mission. So there are three statements. Let us read the statements. The first statement says NLM aims to ensure quantitative and qualitative improvement in the livestock production systems and capacity building of all the stakeholders. So this statement is wrong. Right. Now the second statement says as of now only milch animals are covered under the scheme. So this is factually incorrect because previously it was only for milch animals, but now all the animals such as indigenous animals, then we have packed animals like horse, donkeys, camels, goats, sheep, pigs, they all are covered under this scheme. So second statement is wrong. Now the third statement says the risk management and insurance as a component of submission on livestock development of NLM is implemented in all the districts of the country. So this statement is correct. So correct answer will be 1 and 3, that is option number B. So it is self-explanatory. So we'll move to the next question. So question number 4 is on Swachh Paryatan mobile app. So let us read the statement. The first statement says the app facilitates general public to communicate their complaint about any unclean area, garbage piles, and in and around the tourist destinations. So this statement is correct. Now the second statement says it has been launched by Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation. So this is wrong because Swachh Paryatan app has been developed by Ministry of Tourism. So second statement is wrong. The third statement says only the Adarsh Smarak monuments have been identified for inclusion in this app. So this statement appears to be wrong, but this is not wrong. This statement is factually correct. Only Adarsh monuments have been identified for this app as of today. So 1 and 3 are the correct answer. That is option number C. So now some value addition. So Center has launched a mobile app that is Swachh Paryetan in order to facilitate general public to communicate their complaint about any unclean area or the garbage piles in and around the tourist destinations. Now initially 25 other Smarak monuments like Red Fort, Taj Mahal, Elephanta Caves, Qutub Minar, etc. have been identified for inclusion in the app, but in the near future it would be scaled up to include more monuments as the campaigning expands. Now in this mobile app, any citizen can take the photograph of the garbage at the monument and upload the same along with his or her remarks. Now this application will send an SMS to ASI nodal officer, concerned officer, and that nodal officer will get the garbage cleared, and after that the clearance he will again revert back to the complainant. Fine. That's all. We'll move to the next question. So this question is on National Disaster Management Act. So let us read the first statement. So we have to choose incorrect statement. Okay. The first statement says Disaster Management Act 2005 neglects the steps towards recovery and rehabilitation of disaster affected people. So this statement is correct because Disaster Management Act neglects actually post-disaster steps. So first statement is right statement. Now the second statement says Union Home Minister is the ex officio chairman of National Disaster Management Authority. So this is wrong because it's not the Union Home Minister, but it's the Prime Minister who heads National Disaster Management Authority. Second statement is wrong. Since we have to choose incorrect statement, so correct answer will be option number B. Now some value addition. So Disaster Management Act 2005 was enacted to effectively prevent, mitigate, prepare for disasters. It came into being on the heels of three major disasters in the country, that is super cyclone of Odisha in 1999, then Bhuj earthquake of 2001, and also that tsunami of Indian Ocean in 2004. Now this act mandated the creation of basically the bodies like National Disaster Management Authority headed by PM, then State Disaster Management Authorities headed by respective Chief Ministers, and at last District Disaster Management Authorities. This act basically it laid down the framework, the roles, responsibilities of these bodies to formulate and implement the disaster management plans at their own level. This act basically it focuses on improving the preparedness, then providing immediate relief. So you should notice this, the act is for providing immediate relief and protecting the infrastructure, but it neglects one of the key area, that is long-term recovery after the disaster. So that's all. We'll move to the next question. So this question is on National Authority for Chemical Weapons Convention. So the first statement says National Authority for Chemical Weapon Convention is a statutory body set up as an office in the Cabinet Secretariat. So this statement is correct. The second statement says India was the first country to secure the distinction of chemical weapons free state party under the Chemical Weapons Convention. So this statement is also correct. The third statement says it is obligatory for the signatory party to declare and verify the plants sites for various categories of organic chemicals. So this statement is also correct. All the statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. So D is the correct answer. Now some value additions. So National Authority for Chemical Weapons Convention. This convention is a universal, non-discriminatory, multilateral disarmament treaty which provides the development, production, stockpiling and use of chemical weapons, and it also monitors its elimination in order to secure a chemical-free world. Now India has signed this treaty in 1993, and as per the convention, declaration of plant sites for various categories of organic chemicals and their verification, that is inspections, are important obligations. Now India was the first state party. It is the first state party which secured the distinction of chemical weapon free state by destructing all its stockpiles of chemical weapons amongst all the state parties of the convention. Now, as per this convention, it has set up an office within the Cabinet Secretariat, Government of India in 1997 to fulfill all the obligation on behalf of Government of India. That's all. So this question is again from a popular topic, that is Commission on Agriculture Costs and Prices. So there are two statements. The first statement says CACP is mandated to fix the minimum support price for major agriculture products every year. So this statement is wrong, because the job of CACP is just to recommend the MSP, and the final decision is taken by the Government of India, not the CACP. The first statement is wrong. The second statement says cost of production is the only factor that CACP analyzes while determining the minimum support prices. So this statement is wrong, because cost of production is certainly the major factor, but it is not the only factor. So both statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. So since we have to choose incorrect statement, so correct answer will be C, both 1 and 2. Now some value addition. So Commission for Agriculture Cost and Pricing, that is CACP, it is an attached office of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. Now it has been mandated to recommend minimum support prices to provide incentives to the cultivators to adopt modern technology, to raise productivity, basically for overall grain production in the line of latest emerging demand patterns in the country. Now MSP is announced for major agriculture products that are fixed by the Government of India every year. As of today, CACP recommends MSP for 23 commodities. Now, while recommending this MSP for the commodities, CACP take various factors into account. For example, the factors are like demand and supply, cost of production, then price trend in the market, and also intercrop price parity. Now, this cost factor, it is certainly the major factor, but it is not the only factor that determines MSP. That's all. So this question is on index of industrial production. Fine. So let us read the statement. The first statement says IIP is used to track the health of industrial activity in the economy over a long period. Fine. So this is a tricky word, because this IIP is not used to track the industrial activity for a long period, but it's a monthly indicator. But it's annual survey of industries that is used to track the health of industrial activity over a long period. So first statement is wrong. Now the second statement says IIP date is used to compile gross value added of the manufacturing sector in the GDP on quarterly basis. So this statement is correct. Now the third statement says the 8 core industries comprise more than 50% weight in the IIP. So this statement is wrong, because it's not 50%, but it's approximately 40%. So only one is only 2 is the statement 2 is correct here. So correct answer will be option B. So let us go for some validation. So what is IIP? IIP is nothing but it's an index that tracks manufacturing activity in different sectors of an economy. That is electricity, crude oil, coal, cement, steel, refinery products, natural gas and fertilizers. Now this comprise approximately 40% of the weight of the total items, and this data is compiled and published by CSO every month. So that's all. We'll move to the next question. So this question is on Umang app. So let us read the statement. The first statement says it is developed by National E-Governance Division to fast track mobile governance in India. So this statement is right. Now the second statement says it provides major services offered by only central and state government departments. So this is wrong, because Umang app provides services not only to central government and state governments, but it also provides services to local bodies and also some private sectors which are there to provide some public utilities. So statement 2 is wrong. Second statement, it supports only English language. So this is also wrong, because apart from English language, it supports 12 major Indian language. So only correct answer is option number A. So now some validation. What is Umang app? Umang stands for Unified Mobile Application for New Age Governance. It has been developed by National E-Governance Division, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And this app, it basically provides a single platform for all the Indian citizens to access pan-India e-governance services ranging from central to local bodies and other citizen-centric services. It basically provides a unified approach where citizens can install one application to avail all the multiple government services. That's all. So this is the last question for you. This is not 96 but 10. The question says, consider the following statements with reference to solid waste management rules 2016. So the first statement says, non-recyclable high calorific values waste shall be used for co-processing in thermal power plants. So this statement is right. Second statement says the rules encouraged construction of sanitary landfills in the hilly areas. So this is wrong because the rules basically discourage construction of sanitary fields in the hilly areas. The rules recommend avoiding construction of landfill sites in the hilly areas. Second statement is wrong. The third says it is mandatory for the special economic zones to mark certain land areas for recycling facilities. So third statement is right. So statement 1 and 3 are correct statements. So this question need no explanation. So that's all for today. So I hope you liked the class. Please like and subscribe our channel for more such videos. Thank you very much. Thank you.